Hey guys, it's me, Mrs. Leahy. I'm here to teach you some things about imagery today. As you can see, I have my coffee just like I normally do in class. If you hear some weird background noises, it might be my dog or my children. Just ignore those. Hopefully, just like we are in my classroom, you found a comfy spot where you can sit and do your work. At this point, everybody should be at least a quarter of a way, if not a little bit more than a quarter of a way through your novels in verse. And so we're going to start talking about some poetic elements that go along with novels in verse. And the first one that I chose today was imagery. So we're going to go ahead and do this lesson together. I apologize for any glitchiness that we might have, but I got a lot of things going in on this computer right now. So the question that we are going to ask first is, what is imagery? And imagery is one of those terms that is typically taught with poetry, but it is something that we see throughout all of writing, throughout all prose, throughout all of fiction. So, what is imagery? Well, we have our definition. Imagery is the author's use of language that appeals to the five senses to create a sensory picture in the mind of the reader. So when an author uses imagery as a tool, they're using it to kind of pull the reader into the world of what they are writing and to create almost a sensory picture. Now, what are the senses that they're using? They are using the sense of sight, so visually describing things. They are using words to describe sounds, things that we hear that pull us in. They're using words that describe taste. They're using words that describe different smells. And they're using words that describe touch or the way things feel, a tactile sensation. Now, obviously, some of these are a little bit easier for authors. For example, sight imagery is one that we're very familiar with. Sound imagery, we are also very familiar with. Okay? And some of these are a little bit more subtle and a little bit harder for us to pick out when we're looking at an author's work. We're going to take a look at a poem together, and we're going to talk about what are some of the imagery that are popping out as we read it. And remember, not all five are going to be included in every single piece. So our poem today is Mary Oliver's At Black River. All day, its dark, slick bronze soaks in a mossy place, its teeth, a multitude set for the comedy that never comes. Its tail knobbed and shiny, and with a heavyweight's punch packed around the bone. In beautiful Florida, he is king of his own part of the Black River, and from his nap he will wake into the warm darkness to boom and thrust forward, paralyzing the swift, thin-waisted fish or the bird in its frilled white gown that has dipped down from the heaven of leaves one last time to drink. So that is At Black River by Mary Oliver. And I challenge you to see if you can figure out what animal Mary is talking about in this poem. But let's take a look at some of the imagery that Mary Oliver has used in At Black River. Well, in terms of sight, she's used a lot of words that invoke what we would see. The word dark, the word bronze, the word shiny. Oftentimes, poets and authors alike will infuse their writing with color. We have the word white, the word frilled. We have that phrase, thin-waisted fish. So these are all words that the author is using to try and pull us into this picture of what's happening at Black River and help us be able to visualize it. If we keep looking at the poem, we've got sound. Mary Oliver uses the words boom and thrust to kind of pull us again with a different sense into this image of what's happening at Black River. And then finally, I think she does a wonderful job using touch. She uses the words slick, knobbed, heavy, mossy, all of these kind of tactile things that we could feel with our hands. So that is Mary Oliver's At Black River. I would challenge you that as you're reading your own novels in verse, that you stop and think about imagery. Tomorrow, I am going to be posting an assignment where you post a line from one of your poems that you feel has really good imagery and where you explain what type of imagery you think it is. And remember, our options are sight, smell, touch, taste, and hear. And I will also be posting this anchor chart for you guys to look at as you're doing that assignment. And I look forward to seeing what you guys pulled out of your novels in verse. I will also be posting some resources for you to get some more novels in verse. I'm sure some of you have already finished your novels in verse. And we're just going to, day by day, keep chugging along. So I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. And I'm out.